Hello, wonderful YouTube audience, and welcome to a brand new series for the MusicalFlanman channel. We're calling this one How Not to Listen, and this is a collaboration with my dear friend, today going by...
Hello, I am the Musical Flanman. I, I was so mystified by the presence that is the Musical Conman that I thought, how could we make it better? Adding some flan, as you always do.
I am indeed very mystical. Check out my cool tricks. Whoa, can phase in and out of reality. Pretty impressive, right?
Watch this, guys. Whoa.
Yeah, it's
Look
pretty
at that.
good
You see
too.
that?
I believe this is technically my first face reveal on the channel, so if I ever have a YouTube viewer who does not know me personally, then this will be quite a milestone for the channel. So,
I could show my mom if you want.
maybe we gotta save something for episode 2. So, let's explain the concept of the video. So this series is called How Not to Listen. So, for each episode, we're going to play and react to a classic album, Wrong. So, today, the way we're going to listen to this album, Wrong, is going to be pretty simple. We're going to listen to it at double speed and at half speed, but never at normal speed, for copyright reasons, among others. And the album that MusicalFlanman has selected today is...
You're going to be listening to Boston by Boston. Or if you're looking at the title, I'm really not sure how to pronounce those characters that vaguely resemble Boston by Boston. Something along those lines, though.
Excellent, excellent. And the way we're going to do this is I'm just going to start it at double speed, hit play, and MusicalFlanman here is going to tell me when to switch from double speed to half speed and back. And that's going to be it. So, we're going to start at double. Are you ready to experience the classic song Murder Feeling by the band Boston?
I've never felt more ready in my life, Musical Conman.
Let's do it. Then it begins. It begins. So, right off the bat, first impressions. Okay. Getting a strong impression here. It's worth mentioning that MusicalFlanman, outside of being a YouTube celebrity, is also a quite talented drummer, and also looking like he's doing his best to get started on a career in professional dancing. Maybe these are also drum moves. It's really something. I'll admit, I was expecting more of a dialogue, but I can certainly monologue when the time calls for it, so I am going to discuss you two.
Now might be a good time to kick it down to half speed.
Oh my. Oh, we can also do 0.25 speed.
Probably a very good time to kick it to half speed. More than anything because I cannot hear anything over the sound of my own breathing.
Yeah, let me just turn down the sound of that song, actually.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I was really feeling it there, to be fair.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit turn down the sound of the song.
I can almost hear your voice again, Connor. Are you still there? Are you still there? I feel like I feel like I've space travel. I've astral projected in the first minute and a half of that song.
You know, it's hard to tell, but I think I might still be here. I am, in fact, in space, along with the video. We're gonna see what happens next, but...
Beautiful.
I mean,
the levels, still... levels.
I have turned the sound of the video down to about 20%.
Okay. Well, now that we're at the silent part, I might be able to hear you talk for the next, it should be about 20 seconds or so, I would estimate it stays quiet for.
You know,
But
Musical Flanman, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and say the technical quality of this video series is even better than I had expected.
I mean,
Big happy with how this is turning out so far.
if you haven't bought stock in Zoom yet, you're gonna watch this video and you're gonna say, you know what? I can take my 2 turnips a day, I can turn them into 5 turnips a day by investing in Zoom. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
One of our favorite things to do on the channel actually is prospective advertising. Let's go ahead and take that back up to 2. Oh yeah, that energy. It's one thing I love to do on this channel, Musical Flanman and Musical Conman's collaboration.
Still can't hear you.
Man, this is really interesting. The video has... You know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a quick music break, process that, YouTube, and I'm kind of wondering, out of curiosity, did the video sound changed at all for you, Musical Flanman, when I adjusted the video sound of mine? Because it got much quieter for me, but it sounds like it did not change for you.
It definitely changed it for me, but as you may be able to tell, I am a drummer and I have the eardrums of a drummer. And therefore it was quite hard to pick your voice out of the feed, even though it was probably up there with it volume-wise, at least.
Does it help if I just talk a little bit closer?
Hold on, I'm almost there.
I think we're gonna move on from that. So, I like the energy of this series already. Okay, I'm gonna turn the music volume down as low as possible. So I'm gonna play 2 samples. One at max.
Okay.
And one at close to minimum. So here, I assume that is different for you, yes?
It is quite different for me, and I can, it's almost to the point where I can pick out your voice at the low volume.
Okay, you know what? That sounds good enough. The volume's just going to be a little low on the music. I hope YouTube will forgive us. If you're really interested in this album, you can actually listen to the unaltered version on your own. Figure it out yourself. I'm not helping. Deal with it.
We might want to point out that if you have never listened to this album, it's 44 years old. You've had a lot of time, so...
So we will not be giving any spoiler warnings from this point forward.
Exactly. There's a spaceship somewhere in here, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
I've added a couple spaceships as well to our personal version of the album cover. So, let's see. We're headed onto the second track. I believe it's the second track. Would this
Indeed. Be... Peace of Mind.
Or, for our version, Bismond. I keep forgetting I'm on video here. This is so strange. YouTube can see me. Gosh, I'd better look pretty. Better look nice. I did as much preparation for this as I did for the album discussion, which is to say, I listened to half the album without really paying attention.
In my case, I grew up with this album. This is a old classic. It's just random luck that it happened to be that our first album happened to be one of the first albums I loved as a young elementary schooler, given his father's musical taste. But as it is, can we pause it for a second, Musical Conman?
Sure thing, Musical Flanman.
So this album was actually selected via an ongoing project I have that identifies a long list of albums that I want to listen to at some point, taken from some of the critics' lists dating back to 1994. I have a list of 12 albums per year for every year back to 1974 that I plan on eventually listening to one way or another, and we are randomly selecting from that list, and I can't think of any better way to listen to all these classic, critically acclaimed albums than to do it wrong.
To be clear, That is 12 albums per year for the last 44 years. So it's going to take a lot of time to listen to all those at the regular speed. And that's why we're here to help Musical Flanman truly appreciate the quality of this great art at just a really great velocity.
Take it away, Musical Conman.
Alright, let's find a volume where I can hear it and you can ignore it, if there's any middle ground in there.
I mean, we could always play it loud and have me half hear everything you say and misunderstand everything, which I think qualifies as not only listening to it wrong, but listening to you wrong, which I think really doubles the value of this video.
I do like the idea of being poorly heard.
Oh, those harmonies are tight, man. Oh, man.
Alright.
Oh, man.
And remember, you can request a speed change at any time, as long as it's not to normal speed, which might get copyright claims.
Anything but normal speed.
I wouldn't do 0.75 or 1.25 either. Oh man, there was some nice music there. I wonder what it sounds like good. I mean, I listened to it earlier today, but for the next one of these, let's do an album neither of us has heard before, and just ensure that it stays that way.
That is quite a good idea. Although at the same time, I do like the idea of letting random.org decide that for us.
Oh, of
Plug
course.
for random.org.
Wow, real corporate shill here. Trying to advertise for Zoom, advertise for all the .orgs out there. That's
And
3
flan.
.orgs.
Don't forget the flan. I'm chilling for the flan over here.
Yeah. Do you think if we just advertise for Zoom hard enough, they'll start paying us? Is that how big corporations work? If you do what they want without requiring money, they then decide they want to spend money on it for fun?
You know, in theory, I think it's kind of a similar system to what the aliens are doing out there with us. As it's more of a haha, look at those cute little plebes doing their thing, it's adorable type vibe, while completely ignoring us, you know?
I'm just enjoying an audio experience. Let's just give this track a minute.
It is pretty good. Now is a good time to hit it down to 0.5.
Alright. On it.
So now we'll have an actual moment to talk here, because there is a long period of very long synth going on here, without much action going on.
Which I am going to crank up a bit.
So we might even have a good 30 seconds to actually get some words in here to say, I don't know, do we want to say anything about the album so far?
More than a feeling, I'll admit. Seemed like not less than a feeling. This, like, played this way. It wasn't less than a feeling, but it was approximately on the level of a feeling. Yeah. Wow, that is really...
Is fair.
Wow, it's really... it's coming in. That just felt like... That just felt like watching, like, the wheel of a school bus just, like, slowly slide off the edge of a cliff. It's like it's coming.
That's beautiful.
Not immediately.
I think this really fits the vibe of something disastrous happening very slowly in any sort of movie.
Oh no. Oh, we'd better call EMS.
Yeah, we'd better. Yeah, let's get it back up to 2.
He did too much. He that was not the recommended dosage, and I mean, he's gonna be fine, but he's not.
Might be a few days.
He's not going to be speaking the same language as us anytime in the next 36 hours.
Any singers out there, we do not recommend this. We do not claim any responsibility for your vocal health, okay?
You know,
it's all on you. If you try and sing along to your favorite songs at half speed, this is on you. Okay?
That's right. Okay. Yeah, let's... We've had a speed change request.
Right? Yeah, hit it, double it, bud. Here we go.
That's zippy. Alright, so what is this? I think this will be a good segment for this show. Can you hear me alright, Musical
Flanman?
Flanman?
I can't hear you over it.
How's this,
there we
Musical
go.
Flanman? I will be addressing you by name at all times possible, by the way, Musical Flanman.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
Wait, sorry, who were you talking to?
Man.
Oh, thank you. It's hard to keep track, you know? There's a lot of people in this Zoom call. Only 2 of us get video privileges, but there are 37 observers, who are all, by the way, invited to take part in the discussion, and it doesn't seem like any of them have chosen to do so, as far as I've noticed.
Interesting. Let's,
Yeah, it's actually...
We'll get there.
I was shooting for a Guinness World Record. Well, we were, really. This is a community-owned channel.
I think this can be a participatory sport. I feel like there's not enough sports these days that involve things happening both in ultra slow-mo and ultra fast motion. So therefore, we need to make this a sport, everybody. Who wins? We're all winning. Everybody here, everybody listening to this right now is a winner.
Absolutely.
Let's just get that out of the way right now. We're all winners. Okay?
And by the way, listener, you are absolutely invited to take part in this album discussion. I'm actually just going to make space for you to give your thoughts on this right here. Like, so far we've just listened to More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind. It looks like we might be on Foreplay / Long Time, or maybe Smokin'. I'll admit.
This is Foreplay Long Time. It's a long song, considerably shorter right now, but...
Musical Flanman, I am addressing...
In fact, let's hang with the song a little longer, half speed.
Alright, Musical Flanman, a little rude to interrupt the listener right when they were talking, but it's okay.
We missed it.
It's okay.
We missed it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there's no going back. This next song, we're going to really experience.
Band.
This next song, we're really going to fully savor the moment as soon as the YouTube controls will allow me to adjust the playback speed, because they are sick right now. They are not well. 0.5 or 0.25 is the question I will ask you, Musical Flanman.
Oh, let's go 0.5. Let's not go all the way to 0.25.
We should save that for the season finale. Alright, so, listener, you're invited to participate in this conversation as well. As a matter of fact, you may not be aware, you are don't leave a comment or engage with it in anything like that. Driving metrics? Ew, gosh. I mean, you can if you want, but not required. But the thing I really want to ask is, you're actually in the Zoom call as we speak, whether you know it or not. So just go ahead and tell us which song was your favorite and why. Go.
What? That's my favorite too. Wow. Great taste, friend.
For a whole week? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, you said how many chickens? Wait, I'm sorry, your audio's cutting out a bit. Could you speak up, listener?
Let's backtrack a little bit. Let's backtrack a little bit here. So you're telling us about the chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? Oh no, they were turkeys. Okay. They were turkeys, and then Musical Flanman, I think we're at the bottom of a mystery here.
You don't say. I mean,
in recent months, there has been an outbreak of turkeys, wild turkeys, roaming around the streets of Boston. There's wild turkeys running around the streets of Boston. That's what they're trying to. That's why they're here, Musical Flanman. They heard this album, and you know that they saw this as their one opportunity to let that big haunting secret out. They're responsible for the wild turkeys in Boston.
Listener, I'm muting you for a moment here. We'll unmute you when it's when we're ready for your input. But my co-host and I mean, you are one of the other 34 co-hosts, of course, but my, let's say, premier co-host and I need to discuss a little bit of this information you just brought us. So, Musical Flanman, you were saying about the turkeys and other fowl and so on, but the thing that really caught my attention was you said something about a city of sTØn?
I'm sorry,
the mighty bosstones?
Yes. The year was 1988 when their album came out, and you know, if you've never heard of a city built around a common ideal, the Mighty Bosstones album.
I never have heard of a city like that.
They're definitely a band that exists, and now they're also a city that exists.
Interesting.
One wouldn't necessarily know.
Okay, because when you said it at first, it almost sounded like you were saying Boston, like the name of the album. And I was wondering if those names just sounded so...
Can we pause a second to admire what that snare roll was at the beginning of that song, like 5 seconds ago?
I think you mean 30 seconds ago, but let's head back.
Here we go. Listen.
Musical Flanman, whom I will be addressing by name at all possible points. Given your drum experience, which I completely lack, my musicality is much more of a tonal instrument and also hairbrush kind of thing. Not as percussion, it's a string instrument. Look it up. Educate yourself. But as a drummer, would you say that snare roll sounded difficult to replicate?
I think that snare roll kind of made the sound it does when you take a handful of marbles and drop them on the snare drum. I think that's the only way to successfully replicate that sound. It's an advanced maneuver, mostly because you have to find the marbles and get them before the stage dogs eat them, because that would not be good for their digestive tracts. And once again, advanced maneuver, do not try this at home. Do not let your pets eat your marbles, kids. Okay?
Now, I have done a little bit of performance on stage with percussionists. I have played with conga players. I've played with people who play timbales, other assorted Latin percussion I've performed with on stage. I don't know that I've actually ever performed with a drum kit player on any sort of stage, and I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about the piece of equipment called stage dogs and what purpose it serves for your musical set.
The stage dogs, that's less of a drummer thing. It's usually it usually belongs to either the lead vocalist or the lead vocalist's girlfriend, or boyfriend. It depends on the band, of course.
But not non-binary partner.
Well, as Musical Flanman, I was just about to get there. Non-gender binary vocalists are all the rage.
They're also allowed to have stage dogs?
Yes, everybody is allowed to have a stage dog, but it is normally a...
We do live in different states, so the legislation may be different. Please continue.
Yep. Here, hit the slow key. Hit the slow key. So, while you do that, I will talk a little bit about the stage dogs. You know, before and after every show, you know, as one might imagine, one needs to properly set up and strike the stage. And now here's the thing. For human beings, when a human being touches a mic stand or a cymbal or an amplifier, the oils from their skin can start to work their way into the speakers, much as the oils from Connor's hand, or Musical Flanman's hand, are working their way into the speaker right there, right now. And what that will do over time is it will send the little speaker or the cymbal or anything to little speaker or cymbal heaven. And, you know, we don't want that to happen before their time, so that's why we call the stage dogs in. They move the equipment for us to preserve the longevity of the equipment. Any breed can be a stage dog. Heck, it can even be a human in a dog costume if you want, as long as their skin's not touching the amplifier, it's all good. I hear that's more of a club in Europe thing, especially in Eastern Europe. The former Eastern Bloc countries are more likely to use those humans in dog costumes as opposed to actual dogs. But they're called stage dogs nonetheless.
And Musical Flanman, I have some very exciting news to announce. We've been playing at double speed for an interesting amount of the album, half speed for an interesting amount. Currently, the album time is at 26:17. 18 moving slowly. Our recording time is at 25:39, and in the next about 30 seconds of a minute of our time, we have to decide very quickly: do we want our recording time to catch up to the album time, or do we want to pop back into double speed and not let it catch up? Question is, will this video be shorter or longer than listening to the album at normal speed?
Well, the thing is, we can't end at the exact right amount, because that would be listening to it right, obviously.
I should also mention that we have 11 more minutes of album time to get through, and Musical Flanman.
Double it right now for the organ solo here. In fact, double it and go back about 15 seconds in album time.
Okay, the album time. We have eclipsed the album time with our recording time, but we will do our best to outstrip that on our own pace. Because if this recording takes as long as or longer than the album itself, we'll be forced to confront the fact that someone... Wow. Sorry, you were right. That needed a moment. But if this takes as long to listen to as the album, we will be forced to confront the fact. And you, listener, please stay muted. Hey, I did not ask you to... Am I going to have to host mute you? No, I didn't think so.
No, what I would say is that anything along those lines is quite simply very easy to blame on the wild turkeys.
Sure, but anyway, if they're around the same time, we will all have to confront the fact that someone has chosen to watch and listen to this right here, instead of the album.
That is quite true, and that does defeat the porpoise a little bit. Although, I don't know, are there... Yeah, there's gotta be porpoises at the Boston. I've been to that aquarium before, or, well, I've been to the Boston aquarium. I don't know about the Bistan aquarium, but I'm pretty sure there's porpoises there. Maybe.
I'll admit,
I do know when I went there was a really horny seal. That's all I remember from that trip. That was a really fun trip back in the spring of 2014. Good times, good times.
Musical Flanman, I'd like to direct everyone's attention away from whatever nonsense the band is doing in the background and directly onto whatever is about to be revealed about this horny seal. Please continue.
There's really not a lot to remember there, but this was a school trip, so the fewer horny things you see on a high school band trip, the better, right?
So to be clear, you kept your eyes firmly averted from any of your bandmates.
Precisely. It's a family trip,
I was not in high school band, but I remember just the concept of high schoolers generally.
As one does. But, yeah, the hopes of that went downhill the second we saw this seal, with a long yellow tube that appeared to be, like, the shape of a giant Crayola crayon. Like, have you ever seen those Crayola crayon banks? Like, those banks that are, like, really long, shaped like a Crayola crayon, except, maybe twice as long as one of those, like, about the length of a seal.
Sorry, about the length of a seal?
No, not about the length of a seal. It wasn't that much. That would have been impressive. Maybe to some young minds, when you remember things, you remember them being the wrong size.
Turtles are that way. I believe there are turtles that reach the length of a turtle.
Indeed. But in this case, wow, this song's almost over. Dang.
Musical Flanman, I would like to remind you, we are directing our attention away from the album and towards this anecdote.
Anyways, back to the horny seal, it's just it's just all the joy of a seal, thrusting with what I assume had to be a giant seal-sized dildo. That seal, by contrast, was a little voyeuristic there. Those Boston seals, not shy one bit.
You hear the singer. I think we should all listen to those words. In case it wasn't clear, it is now permissible to pay some amount of attention to the music. Not all of it.
It's quite fitting.
By the way, Musical Flanman, the listener has been pretty good about keeping themselves muted while we're trying to discuss important things about turkeys, the mighty mighty boss tones, and seal. You know. And since they've been so good, I was wondering if you had any questions for the listener.
Any what for the listener?
Questions.
Oh, any good questions for the listener?
Like a question mark.
I guess, along those lines, you know, if we're going for something thematically related to what we've been talking about today, it seems like all of our stories have had some sort of, animal tie to them. So I guess my question for the listener would be, and you can take this in any direction you want it, what is the naughtiest thing you've ever seen a non-human animal do? It can be that kind of naughty, it can be a different kind of naughty.
Alright, and listener, you'd better answer quickly. Wait, really? Wow, I didn't know they could do that. Okay, let's slow this down. Yeah, give me that detail. Okay, you can stop giving me that detail now.
Oh boy.
Well, Musical Flanman, I can tell you a very naughty thing I saw an animal do today in my own real life, my own probably real eyes. I had a dog, a canine of the orange and cream persuasion in the kitchen as I was making cookies. I had cookies sitting on a cookie sheet.
As one does.
Or rather, I say cookies. It's ambitious to call them that. They were at this point globs of uncooked cookie dough ready to be put into the oven. And I turned away for a moment, and when I turned back, would you believe what I saw?
The Kool-Aid Man! Busting down your walls! Kool-Aid! Another product placement by the Musical Flanman. Carry on, Musical
Another
Flanman.
prospective advertisement. If we keep shilling, they might start paying.
Oh,
Kool-Aid. Have it your way. Maybe. Does anyone know their slogan? Not us.
So what did that canine do, Musical Conman?
Well, we are coming towards the closing moments of the album. By the way, the album time is at 35:36. Our recording time is at 34 minutes. We've still okay. You know, I turned around and that canine had its paws, her paws, up on the counter. This is a tall dog, taller than you or I, taller than anyone we know, taller than houses. With those paws...
Taller than the Kool-Aid Man?
It would be blasphemous to suggest such a thing, and I will instead merely let my silence speak volumes.
Interesting.
Praise Kool-Aid. I would never question the authority of our great Kool-Aid King. Anyway, well, we're running out of album time here, and of course when the album ends, this recording ends abruptly, even if we're in the middle of a sentence. And so, ate a thing of cookie dough. Had to carry the dog outside. Dog did not stop eating off the cookie tray when I asked dog to stop, even if I was very polite. So I just had to grab dog and carry dog away, which was a great feat because, again, dog hundreds of feet tall. Alright, we've got about 1.5 minutes of album time, which is 3 minutes of our time. Is there anything you want to really be included in this recording session, Musical Flanman?
Let's see, what could this album possibly require that we don't have already? Any ideas there, Musical Conman?
I wish they would let the stage dogs sing.
Yeah, legend has it that there are some albums on which you can hear the stage dogs, but they are few and far between. Perhaps someday we will hit one on our randomized music selection list.
Ooh,
but until that day.
I've come up with another good podcast segment, by the way. This is a podcast now, this YouTube video, it's a podcast, which is examining the YouTube comments on the video source we're checking out. First comment that I really want to share. Wow, this sounds great. I just love it. It sounds so clear. Great start. We're new. This has not been published at the time of recording. Big surprise, I know. How could that be possible? I'm sending a message to you, Musical Flanman, if you're able to open it, to the YouTube video. If you're able, you've got about 1 minute of recording time to find and read us another cool YouTube comment for our YouTube comment section. Sound effect.
Oh, I believe this album ends with a fade-out, Musical Conman, so I'm not sure how you would like to handle fade-outs as far as when we kill this.
When the video ends.
So if the fade-out occurs faster than we anticipate...
We're at 0.25 speed. Get us a comment. You have to hurry. There's hardly any time.
There's no time. There's no time.
Go. Get to the comment section. Like no one should. Musical Flanman, we don't
be listening to this.
Musical Flanman, we do not want our listeners going to that comment section or any YouTube comment section, but someone has to. Please. Spare them. We have about
we are not going to write the warning. Citizens of Musical Conman's YouTube channel. This is your job. This part's up to you.
What part? The part where Musical Flanman, go to the comment section and read a funny comment for us?
Oh dear. Oh, really?
Not
Musical Conman, they wrote first. They wrote freaking first. I thought we left that joke back in 2009, but here we are. Dang it, guys.
Uh-oh, the fade-out's happening. The fade-out's happening. How long do we have left? Don't worry, we still have over 1 minute left in real time.
What? The album's over. We're just going with radio silence here.
0.25 speed. I'm gonna crank that volume up. If they have a jump scare in there, it's gonna hit us. Alright. We are running dangerously low on album time. Any last remarks? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, so don't do any of those things. You got a couple seconds. Go.
Okay. This was fantastically terrible. Thank you, Musical Conman, for having me on here. I do not have a YouTube channel. I just have Flan.
It has been such a pleasure. I'm really glad that